Recently, I was watching the Peter Pan trailer. The new film was coming out. Has anybody seen it? Yep. The trailer? Right. Yeah. Hugh Jackman's playing Hook, which I find a little confusing because it's supposed to be like, Hook. And instead it's like, oh, Hook. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it kind of made me think, fairy tales are a huge part of our lives because I got so excited when that came out, when Maleficent came out and whatnot. And everybody has a favourite fairy tale that sort of sticks with them. Like, what was your favourite fairy tale?
Cinderella.
Cinderella, there we go.
Cinderella.
Cinderella, aww. Anyone else apart from Cinderella? There was Sleeping Beauty. She did a lot of sleeping, but she was all right. Yeah, there we go. Well, this is the thing. So we kind of basically grew up with high expectations, didn't we? And we kind of had hopes of riches and big palaces with turrets. I've never given up my dream of a turret. It's happening. And, we thought that this was going to happen, and romance, And then we got this. Anybody else a bit disappointed? Just saying. I'm not the only one, am I? And I can't help but think, even, the Queen in her 63 years of reign, the real-life Queen, would probably say that it's not a real picnic either, And the Prince and Princess don't have fairies, like in Sleeping Beauty, to look after the babies. They have to have, like, real-life humans, and that's just sad. So, and then I thought, Amy, calm down. Maybe you're just being too picky. Maybe you need to forget about this and move on. Just let it go. And then I thought, no thanks, because I'm a bit hacked off. What about romance? Back in the day, in these tales, they would slay dragons. They would cut thorn bushes. Where's that? Stephen Sondheim even says that, princes would, pour sticky stuff on the steps of the palace to stop their ladies running away from them. That is romance right there, people. He's a very smart prince. He's a prince who prepares, knowing this time might run from him. He spread pitch on the stairs. I was caught unawares, and I thought, well, he cares. This is more than just malice. Better stop and take stock while you're standing here stuck on the steps of the palace. You think, what do you want? You think, make a decision. Why not stay and be caught? You think, well, that's a thought. What would be his response? But then what if he knew who you were when you know that you're not what he thinks that he wants? And then what if you are what a prince would envision? But then how can you know who you are till you know what you want, what you don't? So then which do you pick when you're safe out of sight on yourself, but where everything's wrong? Or where everything's right, but you know that you'll never belong? And whichever you pick, do it quick, 'cause you're starting to stick to the steps of the palace. It's your first big decision. The choice isn't easy to make. To arrive at a ball is exciting and all. Once you're there, though, it's scary. And it's fun to deceive when you know you can leave, but you have to be wary. There's a lot that's at stake, but you stalled long enough, 'cause you're still standing stuck to the stuff on the steps. Better run along home and avoid the collision. Even though they don't care, you'll be better off where there is nothing to choose, so there's nothing to lose. So you pry up your shoes. Then from out of the blue, and without any guide, you know what your decision is, which is not to decide. You just leave him a clue. For example, a shoe. And then see what he'll do. Now it's he and not you who is stuck with a shoe in a stew, in the goo. And you've learned something too, something you never knew, on the steps of the palace. Has anybody seen Once Upon a Time on Netflix? Yeah. A couple of fans. So I got totally addicted. I had no life for, a few weeks, till I thought that I'd watched 5 episodes and actually watched 5 seasons. It was very good. But, it's about, for people who haven't seen it, it's, fairy tale characters are banished to the real world, because it's not as good, And, but then it kind of makes you start thinking, especially when you're obsessed as I was, you look around you and you kind of think that people start to resemble fairy tale characters. Prince Charming. Anyway, so, yeah, I was thinking about this and I thought, well, actually, come on now. There are some ways that real life is better than fairy tales. I know, radical, but bear with me. So, I was thinking here, in fairy tales, you've got Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty, and there's kind of a bit of a common theme. The characters are pretty samey, because you've got the damsel in the dress, and distress. I meant to say that. And, you know, you've got a knight in shining armour, and you've got the evil queen, or Jafar. And, you know, in real life, though, you've got, as Emily said, people who dye their hair blue, you know, and adrenaline junkies, and surfer dudes. You know, people are so different. And then I thought, instead, you know, sing a song about celebrating the variety of people we encounter in life and how they make our lives better. We played that dive in the village, somewhere on the edge. During the breaks, we'd hang outside, have a smoke, sitting on the ledge. I'd watch the parade as it passed by, the junkies and hot-to-trot teens. And it felt so right to be sharing the night with angels, punks, and raging queens. We played that gig for a long time, got to know some folks, gave them some change, or took their cards, had their schemes, listened to their jokes. Sometimes they'd stop and hear my song en route to their fabulous scenes. And I still get laughs from old photographs of angels, punks, and raging queens. Well, I loved that time in the village, though I still don't know what it means. Matrons and whores, intellectual bores, angels, punks, and raging queens. I passed that place like a phantom. Everything has changed. That lousy dive is a sleek boutique. Priorities rearranged. I long for the mix of the bad old days, the ball gowns and torn up jeans. And I sing this song for the souls who've gone, sweet angels, punks, and raging queens. So, how many people got a coffee on the way to work today? Yeah. Costa, Nero, the like, you know. Many people do it, and it's kind of become more of a necessity now than a treat, hasn't it? It's just, you know, you can't go to work without your morning coffee. And how many people have had their name spelt wrongly on the coffee cup? Yeah. I usually E-M-I. I go, Amy. And they're like, Emmy, great, you know. But today, I passed by and got my coffee. And this time, I had my name spelled right. Yay! Thank you. First time ever. Now, I think this is because something happened today, this time. And I haven't told anybody yet, but I just wanted to tell you just now because it was pretty life-changing for me. And, well, I discovered that fairy tale love does exist. And I found it. I did. In a coffee cup. There's a boy who works at Starbucks who's very inspirational. He's very inspirational because of many things. I come in at 8:11 and he smiles and says, "How's it going?" And when he smiles and says, "How's it going?" I could swear my heart grows wings. So today at 8:11, I decided I should meet him. I decided I should meet him in a proper, formal way. So today at 8:11, when he smiled and said, "How's it going?" I said, "Fine, and my name's Amy." And he softly whispered, "Cool." And I told him my name's Amy, and thank you for the extra phone. And he said his name was Taylor, which provides the inspiration for this poem. Taylor, the latte boy, bring me Java, bring me joy. Oh, Taylor, the latte boy, I love him, I love him, I love him. And I'd like to get my nerve up to recite my poem musical. He would like the fact it's musical because he plays guitar. And today at 8:11, Taylor told me he was playing with a band down in the village in the basement of a bar. And he smoothly flipped the lever to prepare my double latte. But for me, he made it triple. And he didn't think I knew. But I saw him flip the lever. And for me, he made it triple. And I knew that triple latte meant that Taylor loved me too. I said, "What time are you playing? And thank you for the extra." He said, "Keep the 355 because this triple latte was on him." Taylor, the latte boy, bring me Java, bring me joy. Oh, Taylor, the latte boy, I love him, I love him, I love him. I used to be the kind of girl who'd run when a love rushed toward her. But suddenly a voice whispered, "Love can be yours if you step up to the counter and order." Taylor, the latte boy, bring me Java, bring me joy. Oh, Taylor, the latte boy, I love him, I love him, I love him. So many years my heart has waited. Who could know that love could be so caffeinated? Taylor, the latte boy, I love him, I love him, I love him. I love him, I love him, I love him. Anyway, so I was watching the Peter Pan trailer, as I was saying earlier, and I got very excited because, you know, when we were kids, my mum used to read, you know, my sister and I fairy tales, and Peter Pan was one of our favourites. And we just, you know, I was watching it and I'm thinking, we all feel like kids inside, you know? And I turned 26 this year. Oh. Thanks. Thank you. Anyone here in the over 25 bracket? Hi. Yeah. Thing is, as soon as you turn 26, you know, I thought it was 18, but it's really 26, but people expect you to be an adult. And you know, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, you're so old, you're a proper adult. And then you get to, you know, your age, and the feeling hasn't come yet. Is it just me? Do we not feel like we're playing adults? Yeah. So I kind of thought, you know, why grow up? Everybody has a Captain Hook in their life, which is usually their boss. And, true. and, you know, a Tinkerbell in the form of either a best friend or bottle of wine. Saying nothing. And I thought I'd leave you this one and basically say, well, let's all embrace the inner children, because let's face it, we're never going to have the moment when we turn into an adult. So enjoy the rest of your evening. She told me about Captain Hook and all of his men, who followed Peter with a hook in place of his hand. In those days, the bad guys seldom did win, so the captain got eaten and Wendy had twins. Well, that's the story as I recall, though I might have made up the end. Don't remember much at 3 feet tall, except for when I'd say, Mom, let me go to Neverland. Let me fly for one day and throw that fairy dust in my hair. So I pretend I'm flying away. I'm flying away. Well, to my surprise, I grew up too fast, and that easy life of Tinkerbell never did last. So I silently dreamed myself far, far away, so I could be immortalized like Peter one day. And that's my childhood as I recall, though in some ways it never did end. And now I'm standing, well, a little bit taller, except for when I'd say, Mom, let me go to Neverland. Let me fly for one day and throw that fairy dust in my hair. So I pretend I'm flying away. I'm flying away. And though life is never easy, as we as children read in the books, where fairy dust can just fly you so far away, all I ask is that you leave me my imagination, so I can pretend I'm flying away. I'm flying away. And that is where I'll stay, right there in Neverland. I'd be flying, I'd be dying for love, appreciation, where mermaids would sing and fairies would ring, right down there in Neverland. And it's second to the right and straight on till morning. Yes, it's second to the right and straight on till morning.